G'day, Aussie bonsai bloke here, how you going? Today, I'm going to be working on me Devil's Plum. Got named the Devil's Plum because one of the viewers called it that. I said the back of it looks a bit like a flame or a devil's head, you know, on fire, so with the horns. It's probably hard to see from there, but you'll see it once it's all trimmed. So yeah, we've called it the Devil's Plum. So I did some work on this, I reckon only 3 weeks ago, maybe 4. And it's just grown this much since, so it's very, very vigorous. So these plums, extremely vigorous. Got no idea what sort of plum it is. I just found it as a seedling and planted it in the ground, and I reckon only 3 to 4 years and it got this fat on the trunk, which is very fat, like it'd be at least 20 centimeters across with a diameter of 20 centimeters, I reckon. So I'm going to give it a second cut back today, due for another cut back, so I'll give it a second cut back. And it's only there's still 1 more month of spring to go, so if this thing keeps going like this, it's going to have at least 4 cutbacks this year, I reckon. And 4 cutbacks means that it gets 5 lots of flushes of growth. So you can imagine by the end of this year, going into winter, it's going to have a fair bit of ramification. It's going to look way different to when it started at the start of this year. So it'll be good to look back, and I'll try and do a bit of a comparison too, back to what it did look like at the start of this spring. I won't do that now. I'll do that next winter when we can see the silhouette of the tree with no leaves on, and just have a look how far you can bring a tree in 1 year with the ramification and the branch division. If you keep on it, keep cutting it back hard all the time. So this is one tree I'll show you every stage of, just to show you how to develop a deciduous tree. Yeah, so plum's a pretty crazy grower, so they're not all going to be quite as vigorous, and you're not going to be able to trim back most of them 4 times. You might get 2 to 3 times out of a lot of deciduous stock, but 4 times is getting a bit extreme. But I believe this one will be 4. The only pest this one seems to get is the cherry slug or the pear slug. It does get that, so I've got to be careful for that and spray for that. In generally, it comes along sort of mid to late summer. Generally get the cherry slug, pear slug, and I have to spray pest oil on the tree for that. A lot of stuff can be taken care of with a pest oil. But that's about it for this plum. I mean, it's pretty hardy. So anyway, now all I'm going to do is chop it back again, try and work out exactly what I wanted to keep and where I wanted to keep it. I don't think I wanted to keep a small branch here. I'll just have a quick look. No, we're still good. I was just checking. This camera can only do 10-minute videos at a time, I think, because of its memory, storing each video file. So I just got to keep an eye on that, because occasionally I get carried away talking and working and realise 5 minutes has gone by with no recording. So that's why sometimes you see a bit of a jump in the progression of the tree. But I'll try to keep a bit more of an eye on that in the future, I think. So if that's the front somewhere, maybe somewhere in there. I'm just wondering whether I do eventually want to keep a side branch here. I think I might just keep the option. Also, if you remember back to the other video, I kept this back one here to grow out, to become a back branch, and for some reason, no reason at all, it just died right back. There is a tiny little bud shooting out again at the base of it, so I don't know whether it cracked or what, but it doesn't look like it. For some reason it died, so I might even keep this little one down here now, you can see, and that might become a back branch. I don't mind if it looks a bit bushy at the bottom and grows out. It doesn't have to be a tall upright tree. It's a very squatty sort of stump anyway, so I'm going to leave a nice big fat one on the side there. Probably leave it more towards the front than the back, just because the front's a bit bare and a bit open. This one here is going to be divided and kept as a front branch to just close in some of that bare, you know, chested look that it's got. And some of this side branching eventually is going to come in and fill this area anyway. So that's the plan. So I'll cut back some of these side shoots. Like I said, I'll keep one, but the one I'm going to keep, I'm still going to go back and cut it fairly short. Not as short as the other stuff, but I'm still going to cut it pretty short. I could let it grow out 2 meters for the year. Just let it keep growing. And it will fatten up a lot quicker, and it's debatable whether I should or shouldn't do that, but it's hard to manage and keep an eye on because it grows so big that the wind blows it and snaps it right off at the base, catches a lot of wind. So I think I'm going to start trying to develop it into a branch from now. Because when I grow them out really long, I have cut them back hard and then they die right back almost to the base anyway. And you lose all that extra growth that you put on. So if I cut it back now and get division now, if I want to fatten it up later, I can always let a back branch shoot out of the obviously side branch. I can always let another branch go out the back, get really long and fatten it up at the base. And that'll be like a sacrifice branch, and then I'll cut it off later. And because it's at the back, you won't see the big mark that it leaves. And then you'll be able to also leave your ramification on here while you let that back branch grow and fatten it up. So I think that might be a plan for the future, rather than let them all grow out really long, because as I said, they blow around in the wind. Some snap just clean off, just really get blown around and snapped off in the wind. So that's going to be my new method for now. Might be clutching at straws, but I think it should work. I think I'll just run a branch out the back when I want to fatten it up. Just bring the camera in a bit closer here. Okay, so here we got 2. I'll cut it back to 1. Let one grow under there like that. Also got 2 here. I'm going to keep the 2 stronger ones because we're down at the bottom of the tree, so the thicker the branching the better. So I'll cut the 2 stronger ones. There's also 3 branches coming from here, so I'll keep 2. One of them's a very thin branch, but that's okay, it'll catch up later. Okay, so we've got some growing from the base of this top branch here. Don't want all them, so I can keep just one of those. Okay, then I'm going to shorten it to the node. Shorten it to the node. And you try not to get tempted to, if you're cutting them back to the node like that, hang on, there's 3 branches here. If you're cutting it back to the node like that, I've kept it extremely short, as you can see. It's probably only probably 2/3 the thickness of my little fingernail, that internode length, which will create really good division. Don't get tempted to go, oh yeah, but if I leave this long one out here, you know, look how much extra growth I've got on this tree, right? So then you've got all that extra growth. You think, oh, it's going to fill in really quick like that, it's going to look really good really quick, and you know, like to a certain extent it does fill in and sort of look nice, but then when you actually poke your head in there and have a good look at the structure, you can see you've got all these long straight bits. You might put a little bit of twist in them, but then you're still going to get a division out here, another little bit of a swell division out here. Don't get tempted to do that, because in the long term you can see that you've rushed the tree and you don't have as much character and, you know, divisions and angle changes and stuff like that in the tree, because you can't mimic the angle change of a cut branch like that. So I'll be cutting it back that short instead of out here, because you can't mimic that angle change where it just changes and goes to a different branch altogether. You can see exactly where you've cut it in the past. You can look back here in 30-40 years time and see, pretty much count back the age that you've been looking after it as bonsai almost, and count back all the divisions that you got. And I mean, you can't really count the years, sorry, because you're going to be doing more divisions some years and less other years depending on the growth of the tree. So this one here technically could divide 5 times this year, which is only 1 year, so that it's not really a representation of the years of age, but it does create a lot of interest, and it shows a lot of age. Once the tree does get old, you can see it, or you can see all the work that's gone into it, rather than just, as I say, straight bits in the middle with an outside canopy. I could come along here and get the hedge pruners. Hang on, I'll just go get the hedge pruners just to show you, just as a bit of an experiment, and you'll see the tree will probably look okay. I'll just go and get the hedge trimmers. Alright, so just to be stupid here, we'll just have a quick sip of the old port. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful weekend day for a drink. Right, this is just to be stupid, just to show you. Got the old hedge trimmers here, just to show you that you can make a tree sort of look okay simply by just getting the old hedge trimmers over it. They're not very sharp. And then I'll give you a spin of my finished tree. You can have a spin of the finished tree. Okay, this is literally how some people do style them, and forgive me if you're one of them and I've offended you, but it's a fairly shocking way of doing things. And you know, it does give you the look of a tree when you're finished. And to be honest, in the short term, probably better than when I've finished with this tree. Okay, you can literally go and do this. Every time I put on a bit of new growth, and end up, the outside silhouette of the tree looks pretty good. You know, you got it all nicely symmetrical, beautiful looking bush. Careful not to cut it back too short. I've almost cut it back short on some of those shoots at the top anyway. Getting a bit carried away here. So you could do that, right, and then you could remove some of the inside branching. But anyway, for now, that's all I'm going to do. Right, so we look at that, and we think, oh yeah, that is quite a nice tree there now. You can still see some of these bits along, but okay, so as just a general rule, you go, oh, that's not a bad looking bonsai now. Except I've already got carried away and cut these branches before, so that doesn't help. But if I had this branch out here, all full to the outside like before as well, you can see it actually looks like a pretty cool tree. But then, I'll grab the camera and give you a bit of a close-up. Okay, and this is, it's not the first time I've seen this. In the Adelaide show this year, there was a Chinese elm. I think it was a Chinese elm that was like that. Looked like a nice finished tree on the outside. A little bit of ramification, had been done for a couple of years. And it looked like a nice tree with a nice stump. But then you get in there to an area like this, and all you see is long branch. See, long branch, long straight branch, long straight branch. You could wire a little bit of movement in these, but you're still going to have a branch with no division, no shoots off, until it gets to the outside, and then you'll get all your division and shoots on the outside here. You've got to actually individually go in there, cut them all back to 1 or 2 nodes, and take the time to do it, bearing in mind that the tree's not going to look as developed when you're finished. well, after the day, sorry, it won't look as developed after that single day, because it'll look like this branch here, well and truly cut back, as you can see, fairly significantly cut back, as opposed to up here where it looks nice and full now, except for all these straight sections. So the structure on these hedged ones is nowhere near as good as what the structure will be on this when this develops into a full pad in 3 or 4 years time, but there'll be a lot of division in that by that stage. So anyway, that was a bit of a silly demonstration, but I just wanted to show you in the short term it can look better to hedge it, or well, not even hedge it, just to leave long shoots, and in the long term it's not good for the tree. In the long term it's better to do it like this shoot here, where I've got extremely short internode lengths. The internode length only goes to there, the rest of that's like a stub, and same with that one, only goes to there. So you got bugger all length there that's actually going to be the shoot. You're talking literally that much on my finger, which is only anywhere up to 8 to 10 mil division, and most of them are a lot less than that. Most of them are only 4 to 5 mil. So you can see that looks pretty good as from a distance. Getting close looks like crap. And I seen one at the show this year that looked like that, Chinese elm, really straight everywhere, all branches same thickness. It had just literally been topiaried over the top, hedged, and that was it. So if one thing you can pick out of today, don't take shortcuts. Okay, bonsai is a long-term thing. I know I'm getting a bit worked up here, but once you get into, see, the thing is, once you get into it a bit more, then you look back at the trees that you have done that to, and then you've got to cut them right back to the start and start again, because you'll never be happy with it in the long term. As a beginner, you'll probably be quite happy with it, you know, oh yeah, look at my tree after only a year. But in the short term, in the long term, once you get better and your skills improve and your thoughts of what a good bonsai is improves, you'll start to look back on some of those trees and you'll hate them. You'll just want to get in there and chop the crap out of them, and you'll be literally cutting right back to a trunk and starting again. So as much as it's tempting in the short term to do that, don't. I have rambled on a bit there, but anyway, I hope it sunk in. It's like telling off my kids, because I've seen it quite a few times and it really peeves me. If you've got a really nice trunk, and then you get in there and you just waste all that growth. So we just cut them back short, cut them back to 2. Just keep cutting back. Yeah, so that's why I cut them back this hard. Because you can see definitely when you've taken shortcuts like that. So yeah, this tree here, because it does develop so fast, I'm going to probably assume this tree will look, I mean, I'm never going to call a bonsai finished. It's always a work in development. But I'm going to go as far as to say this tree, I reckon within 5 years, is going to look like a quote sort of finished tree, but not an actual finished tree, but you know what I mean, like it'll look like a bonsai that's probably ready for a show. I'll have it in a nice pot, be ready for a show. Actually, one thing I would laugh about with that hedging that I did, it's actually really gone a long way to help me at the top of this tree here, sorting out all the shoots, because they're all nice and short so I can see what I'm doing. So maybe in the next video I do, or the next trim, you might see me doing the same thing. Just said that it's a bad idea, but maybe just to get in there so you can see what you're looking at, it's a good idea. I'm not sure. Anyway, it certainly has opened up the tree so that I can see what's going on. So anything from a crutch of the tree, anywhere where there's 3 or 4, cut it back to only 2 shoots per each spot, each location. You can't go wrong really. All the internodes you want short. There's a bloke out there that says rule of thumb. Yeah, so I got a bit carried away again. I knew I said I wouldn't get carried away, but I got carried away, and said that I would keep an eye on the length of the video, and it ran out again. So what I was saying, I think at the end when it would have run out, was rule of thumb on the main branch structure, secondary, maybe into the tertiary, and then what he did rule of little finger, or he called it rule of pinky. So no internode length should be, the width across your fingernail should be no longer than that anywhere in the tree. Once you get out to your tertiary and further into your 4th and 5th division. And once you've got a really developed tree, you might even be out into 8 or so divisions, and you might only want to keep it within a few mil. It'd be pretty hard on a plum, but on some trees like a Chinese elm, it would be pretty easy to keep it within a couple of mil right out at the tips. So anyway, it's something to keep in mind, because you'll notice today I'm going to cut this back. Just have a look where the camera is. You'll notice today this will be cut back pretty short like this one, but the outside, the plan of the tree for the outside silhouette eventually could be out here. Okay, so I'll probably have that sort of in mind eventually, but that's in, you know, 10 years time, maybe more. As I said, it's a long-term thing, and it's not going to take, don't get me wrong, it's not going to take 10 years to look good. It'll probably look good in 3 or 4, maybe even at the end of this year it'll look pretty good, and then it'll just slowly improve over time and get better and better. So it doesn't actually take that long to develop a tree, and time goes by so fast, especially if you've got a lot of trees like me. I've got so many trees like this that I sort of forget about one and work on another, then I forget about that one, and before I know it, it's ready to cut back again. And then I look back on it in 3 or 4 years time, and I'm actually surprised how much it's grown and improved, and it almost feels sometimes like they grow too fast on me. A bit like this one here, I'm already on the 2nd cutback for the year, and it's only been, well, we're only into the 2nd month of spring, nearly, actually, sorry, it's the 2nd or 3rd of November now. 2nd or 3rd of November now, so we're actually into the last month of spring, but only just. Oops, one of the dogs is having a good old yak in the back. Must have choked on something. Crikey, mate. Poor old dog. I'm just laughing at myself because I got this, I've got a bit of a plan. I'm going to do a Australia Day video, and I've been thinking about it the last couple of days. Although Australia Day here is nearly 3 months away, I'm starting to already plan for my big Australia Day video. I'm going to get dressed up for the occasion and probably put in a few more Aussie catchphrases and have a bit of a laugh, a few beers, maybe even have quite a few beers, we'll see. And it's going to be quite funny, I think. We're going to get the old everything Australia Day going on. Maybe have a flag in the background. Have get those water tattoos. Get some of those tattoos cranking. Here in Australia, it's quite big to have those. Everyone to have those tattoos on for the day, Australia Day tattoo. And maybe, you know, we'll see. It's going to be, I won't tell you everything, but it's going to be quite a fun video, I think, once I get around to getting everything organised. Got a few plans for it. And I'm going to try and keep up the, should be bloody right, eh mate? I'll talk a bit like that all the time, eh? Yeah, so I'll try and talk like that for the whole video. It's going to be quite an interesting video, I think, if I can talk like that for the whole video and not go back to my standard usual voice. I do put it on a little bit sometimes at the start of the video, as you know. So it's going to be quite a fun video to make. I'm really looking forward to it, planning it out. In the meantime though, I'm still cutting back this tree and we're getting pretty close to cutting it back hard enough. And in some spots I've cut it back where there's not even a leaf. You can't really see, but this short bit here, I'll do a close up actually. Okay, so I'll try and get the camera to focus on that. So here you'll see I've cut it back to where there's not even a leaf. And all there is one node really close and the second one out there. But as you'll see, there's the thickness of my thumb. Both nodes are well and truly inside of that. Even my little finger. They're only half as long as my little finger. So there's no leaf there, but I've cut back to there. And then I'll also get rid of the inside little branches here. Cut it back to only 2. And this here is a stub, so that's going to go anyway in winter when I trim it all back properly. And in winter too, I'll wire it out. But anyway, so I've cut it back to 2 there now, and you can see that'll shoot out of those nodes, and probably the inside node and the outside node. And same with this little branch here. And that's pretty much what I aim to do over the whole thing. Yeah, so the old Australia Day video, eh? Might even cook a barbie, we'll see. Get the old Aussie barbie out. Well, I think barbecues originated from America, not sure, but America's pretty big on barbecues. I'm sure one of your American viewers will let me know, but I'm not sure where it came from, the old barbecue. But here in Aussie, it's pretty big now, you know, to sit out there with your Barbie apron on and cook a barbie. Well, I'm sure my Barbie won't compare to some people's Barbies. My Barbies are actually the old barbecue. Mine are pretty tame compared to some people. They go all out, all the marinade and all the sticky stuff on there, but nothing better than a good old barbecue. Aussie, American, whatever you are, nothing good than a nice barbecue. So yeah, I'm just taking some out of the crutches now. Still cutting back to 2 all over the place. Still a few areas here that have got 3. Not too many, I got rid of most of them. It's not the end of the world, like if you cut it back this hard and then keep recutting it back, it's not the end of the world if you do accidentally forget a few that have divided into 3. Because when you come back here in winter and wire it out, and you can see the inside structure really easily. You can see where you got 3, and you can cut it back then, and you'll have that much branch choice to choose from. You can do it all then. Do as much as you can now in summer, because you don't want wasted growth where it pushes out too many shoots. If you put it back to 2 now, it'll put all the energy into the shoots that you want to keep in the long run. Like I said though, if you do miss a few, it doesn't really matter. 1 year is not going to really make it bulge out too much, especially if you keep on it, keep trimming it like this. Just make sure in winter you just clean up clean up the few that you miss, because you will miss a few because there are hundreds of shoots here, so it's pretty hard to get every single one 100% dead on. So yeah, it's pretty simple. There's some pretty simple rules there. Just got to follow them. So the simple rules are: keep the internode length short, keep it down to 2 shoots, keep the strongest 2 shoots at the bottom of the tree, the weakest top shoots. Start again. Keep the weakest 2 shoots at the top and the strongest 2 shoots at the bottom. And then apart from that, only 2 from any one location, and just keep on it basically. Just keep trimming it back, because once you let them grow really long, out of proportion, you can end up over fattening the top of the tree, or I mean, at the very least, you're going to have to cut that really long branch back anyway, and cut it back to 2, and then you lose all the division that you would have got if you stayed on it all of summer. Last year I was a bit lazy, and a few of my trees, including this one, I did let grow for too long, and I did lose a lot of the growth that I put on. I had to cut off, so there's a bit of wasted growth. Although I do have to say, once you first collect it, I will say this, once you first collect it, it is a good idea. Like when I first collected this one, it's a good idea. I let it grow for 1 year solid without any cutting at all. Just let everything, choose the shoots that you want from the trunk, bend them out, which is what I did on this tree, and I kept them all for 1 solid year and just let them grow really long. You want to do that the very first time, so you'll get it out the ground after 4 or 5 years when you got the trunk thickness that you want, and then the next year you want to just grow your branches out that you want to keep, let them grow really long, really fat, so that you get good size like this, and then after that, then you start doing this trimming back. Yeah, I hope that all makes sense. So yeah, the first year, just you do actually want to let it grow out. Second year, you may possibly let some secondary branching grow out, but I think by that stage you're pretty safe that you can just start cutting them all back to 2 nodes, and then just start ramifying the whole tree together, growing the whole tree together. And if you grow the whole tree together, you can get a fairly well balanced tree anyway. So yeah, so first you're out the ground, yes, you can grow really long branches. In fact, I promote you to grow really long branches just for the first year, but then after that, cut it back. Now this is the second and third, maybe third year, at least the second year, where I'm now creating more divisions in the branches. It's possibly even the third year, I'm not sure. I can't remember. Anyway, almost finished here for this tree today. I know I've hammered on about division, but pretty much that's all that makes a deciduous tree, you know. Like once you got your trunk and your branching, the only thing that really makes a deciduous tree after that is how well ramified and how tapered all your branches are, how interesting all your branch structure is, and a lot of the interest comes in divisions, so that's why I keep harping on about it. So yeah, the outside silhouette's going to be a long way out from here, the finished tree, but that could be 5 to 10 years time, so we'll see. So I've pretty much cut everything back really short. I'll give you a detailed close-up in a minute. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that for now. And like I say, if I missed anything, I can chop it back later, or in winter when it's all defoliated, I can give it another clean up, which I will. I'll give it a clean up and I'll give it a wire, and I'll do that all on camera. In the meantime, have a good one. Cheers for watching Aussie Bonsai Bloke. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you later. Cheers.